Hey, it's Dr. Tartt. Today I have a great topic for us to discuss. The future romantic lives of teenagers, right? So, if you're a parent, are you thinking about a parent? Are you thinking about how you got into your current love life, right? Your relationship, your marriage, and whether it could have been predicted as a teenager? I'm getting ready to tell you the answer is yes. All right. So anyone that knows me knows that I have three children. I have 16-year-old daughter, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I have a 13-month-old son at the time of this video. And one of the things that I think about as a parent, especially for my daughters, is making sure that they get in really, 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 really healthy relationships. And I feel the same way with my son, but I feel like, I feel like I can help him, a little more than my daughters. That might be something I need to work on. All right, but I want all three of them to be in healthy, healthy, healthy relationships, right? I mean, we all do, right? And it says in the word in Proverbs 22:6, it says, the King James Version, it says, train up a child in the way he or she should go. And when he or she is old, they will not depart from it. And so the question is like, how do we raise our kids to be able to get into healthy relationships, right? One, to be healthy themselves, and then two, to pick healthy partners, right? And the research is clear, right? All right. So let me give a shout out to my colleague. All right. So this is Dr. Lisa Damour. And I say colleague, this is back in the day. We went to the University of Michigan together. She is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant psychologist, and she has a book called The Emotional Lives of Teenagers. Y'all need to pick that up. In this book, in this book, she talked about how you can predict whether your kids are going to get into a great relationship. All right. And what's interesting, she said, is not what's happening in the teens' non romantic relationships. It's what's happening in your teens' non-romantic relationships that lays the groundwork for happy adult romantic life. All right. Um, does that make sense? So what we think is like how you date early is how you're gonna date later. But she says no, it's actually we should actually look at the non-romantic relationships. So basically, we're looking at the friendships, right? And so researchers found that future happy adult relationships were not linked to adolescent dating activity, but rather to the friendship skills teens developed along the way. Isn't that fascinating? Now, I'm gonna break these things down, all right? Because the research that she quoted in her book, she quoted three things that we need to look out for. So, parents, make sure you write this down, right? Hit me up, ask me about this stuff. This is great. This is why I do what I do on the platform of raising healthy families. Y'all will hear more about that. But let's dive in, all right? So, number one, those who at age 13 expected to be treated well by friends and could stand up for themselves when necessary. That's the first thing that you're looking for. Ain't that interesting? So that means at 13, your son or your daughter expects to be treated well by friends. All right. So if we reverse that, that means at 13, if your child has developed a negative view of relationships, red flag, because they feel like, okay, relationships equal being mistreated. It just is what it is. Versus your child in a healthy way saying, nah, for me to be in a relationship with my friends, I expect to be treated well, right? I don't stand up for myself and set limits and keep it pushing if that's not the case. All right. Then number two, those who at 15 and 16 are able to establish close friendships and get along with peers. Right. So at 15 and 16, you need to see if your son or daughter are they able to establish close friendships. And I can tell you as a clinical psychologist, I see a lot of peers struggling with this. They say they don't have friends, they have associates, or they're on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, and they have friends, but no one who actually they kick it with and celebrate and spend consistent time with. They don't have solid friendships, which is the base of a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a relationship, a friendship that is a marriage that is based on friendship. So it makes sense at 15 and 16 if your teen is unable to or struggles establishing close relationships and does not get along well with peers. They are always instigating. They don't initiate conversation. They are super anxious. They are super awkward. They are I like to use a word my mom used to use, cantankerous, always starting stuff. If it's your kid, be concerned. Now, and then make the necessary adjustments to teach them how to have better friendships so they can be in better relationships. Does this make sense? Because if your kid is cantankerous now, your kid is the one that's starting stuff now, anxious now, can't speak up for themselves now, mutes themselves now, is the pleaser now, can't set their limits now, they're going to move on to that in adult relationships. Does that make sense? And then number three, those who are at 17 and 18 were able to maintain close relationships for over a 2-year period. What that shows is the ability for stability, right? So if I've maintained close friendships, that means probably two things are happening. One, I'm a really good friend, and two, I'm with really good friends. We're able to mutually take care of one another. No one's using, I'm not being the pleaser, I'm not being the narcissist in this particular relationship, I'm not being the person who's overly selfish, right? You get those things. Is this good, y'all? Man, I love doing this, y'all. All right, so let's recap. One, at 13, they have to be expect friends to treat them well. And they're able to stand up for themselves verbally and set boundaries with friends. I'm not telling you that. All right. Number two, 15, 16, close friendships. I'm able to establish it and get along with peers. I am good with people. I am pro-social. I have really good social intelligence and emotional skills. And then number three, I'm able to maintain stability. I pick stable friends and I'm stable and consistent with those friends. And therefore, bam, now I have the blueprint. And how did they figure this out? They did this study from 13. They followed teens from 13 to 31 and found who were in the most effective, who were in the best, healthiest relationship. And they found those were the three things. All right. If y'all want more, visit me at Dr. Tartt. This is what I do. Not only marriage, but also marriage and family, right? And individual, anything that has to go along with your greater mental health. So I'm excited about it. So when I sit down, and I talked to my daughter, y'all. I revised my strategy. Before I was like, hey, Ray, you're a junior. You should be dating, right? Her name is Raquel, but I call it Ray. I said, you should be dating. And then I read this article and I started talking to my clients. And I said, Ray, you know what? I want to applaud you for not dating. Just her. I'm not saying all you team because she's been saying that those three things. She was like, she sees her friends struggling in those particular areas. And I say, you need to pick stable partners. If there's no stable boys at your school, right, who you're attracted to, it's totally okay for you not to date in high school, right? Or maybe senior year. But the standard is the standard. We're not going to get into a relationship just to get into a relationship because everyone's doing it. And when she says this, and I think the average parent would agree that most of our teens are struggling with romantic relationships. Boys are so immature. Girls are so immature. Lord, help you if your child is dealing with any issues of sexuality. That adds another layer of complication because of the hostility and how intricate that is to be able to come out to your peers. That adds a whole nother level of difficulty. So it's hard in these days, y'all. So listen, I hope y'all take this. I want you to talk to your teen, make sure that they have those three things at those age levels so that we as parents can raise them up, right? In a manner, all right, that they should go. And when he or she is old, they will not depart from it because we help them to have healthy, godly friendships where friendship is the base. All right, take care. God bless. Love y'all.